Okay, so I've got us recording, everybody. So what I'll do is I can get the link sent out to everyone that registered. I can send out the link with the video, and then we can upload it to the district YouTube page as well, so that if anybody in your club wants to, they can just go out there and find it.
Made it home, so I'm signing off, and I'll be right back.
Well, I don't know, but on top of my screen, it says I'm recording, so who knows? We'll find out.
That just means it is being recorded, so watch what you
Oh,
say.
okay. Is it?
Keep language clean.
I always do. We're getting a few more signing in.
Yeah, they're coming.
Some reason I keep kicking off.
Stay on if you can, but again, you can always, you'll be able to get the recording once it's done.
Thanks, Rick.
Sometimes, Charlie, you can turn your video off and save some bandwidth. Not that we don't like looking at your pretty face, but
All right, yeah, up to 26 folks online now. That's good.
good deal.
Rick, you still have your waterfall.
I like that waterfall. I wish I knew where it was. I'd go visit it, but
Right.
if anybody else likes it, I can send you the little video file. You can use it yourself.
Wow.
'29, okay. Okay, well, welcome everybody. I think we're pretty nearly up to full speed. It's great to see a lot of you and to see the names of the rest of you. I'm very happy that you're interested in learning a little bit more about the grants programs and the foundation and how it works. And I'm told that quite a few folks had questions they wanted answered after the idea exchanges that we did late last year and early this. So this was set up to be an opportunity to get those questions answered. Ralph and I are going to do some short presentations and hopefully leave time for you to ask the questions that came to you and the things that you want to know about how to deal with the foundation. Now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Since again, we have 32 people, that's just about right. We set this program up to cover the foundation fundamentals. This is not the grant management seminar that is required to qualify to do district grants.
Oh,
There was some confusion about that, I think, in the run up and in some of the publicity for it. So let's be clear, this will not qualify you to participate in the grants programs. There are, we'll tell you how to get there and exactly what to do with that seminar. But this is not it. Okay, but we will kind of go over some of the basics, both of how to give to the foundation and the way district grants are going to be working going forward. It's a little bit different than it was last year. So there are always things that you're going to need to be keeping up with in order to help your club do more with in the world and in your community and in the world. And the whole idea of the foundation, going back to 1917 when it was set up, was to help Rotarians do more good in the world. It has become one of the biggest, most efficient, and most highly respected charitable arms that there is out there. It always gets the very highest rank from Charity Navigator, which is an independent organization that focuses on trying to help people make sure their money goes somewhere that it'll really be used in the way you intend it to do. One of the reasons the Rotary Foundation is so efficient is that most of the fundraising is done by volunteer Rotarians. Most of the implementation of the projects is done by volunteer Rotarians. They do have a very capable staff in Edmonton to help make sure the grant applications follow the rules, make sense, are well organized, but still that's a very minimal size professional staff to keep it going. The trustees are all Rotarians, volunteers for doing this work. So that's one of the things that makes the Rotary Foundation really pretty exceptional in the foundation world. Again, almost all of the money comes from Rotarians. Some of it comes from outside programs, such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, although Bill is a Rotarian too. But they provide a great deal of assistance under the Rotary flag. There are lots of different ways that people can give to the Rotary Foundation, and some of it can be pretty confusing when you look at the donation forms that Rotary sends out. You can give directly to Polio Plus. We know that's not been finished, and there's still work to be done. The Disaster Response Fund was, first I ever heard of it was at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, when Rotary said, okay, your districts can apply for money to help people deal with the problems caused by the pandemic. And our district got a $25,000 grant from the World Fund that I'll talk about in a minute, in order to help people be able to work with shelters, with food banks, with what places that people need to stay, and old age homes to help make sure they can disinfect all the surfaces and the air in their areas, and try to help people stay safe from the virus. You can give directly to an area of focus. If you're particularly interested in clean water, if you want to work on maternal and child health, or one of the other 5 areas of focus, you can give money directly to that. And it will be spent for projects done in that area. If you've been very successful in your career and maybe have a fairly large chunk of money you'd like to donate to the Rotary Foundation, you can give it as an endowment. And that money won't be spent, but the income from it will. And our district has had 5 Rotarians so far give very nice endowments, and the income from that helps come back to our district to help us do more work. You can give directly to a Rotary Peace Center. But the method that we really want to emphasize, and of try to make sure everybody understands, is the annual fund share program. This is the money that part of it comes back to the district, as I'll explain with the next slide. This is the money that is going to get spent every year for Rotary programs and Rotary activities and Rotary projects. There are different methods of giving to the Rotary Foundation. Rotary encourages you to sign up for Rotary Direct so that a specific amount of money is donated every quarter, every month, every year, however you choose to do it. You can set up for a regular contribution from your credit card, from your bank account. And this is one that, of course, that you're in full control of and you can change anytime you want to. Many clubs, including my club in Louisville, offer the opportunity of adding the money onto your dues payment every quarter. So you can give an extra $25 to the foundation. Or we also say give $25 to the Rotary Fund of Louisville so that it can keep up. A little bit of money every quarter comes out pretty easily and really doesn't leave too much of a mark on your checking account when you do it. But lots of ways to make it easy, make it convenient, make it almost painless to give to the Rotary Foundation. But when we're talking about that annual fund share program, that's what we really want to talk about. Because you'll hear a lot of folks talking about being a star club, and being a star club is important. That means that your club is giving, on average, $100 per capita to the Rotary Foundation every year. That money that is given to the share fund gets held for 3 years and invested to get a little bit of money from it, a little earnings to cut down on expenses. And then it's divided 50-50 into money that comes back to the district designated funds, and the World Fund, which districts can draw on to help add additional financing to global grant programs, including our scholarships, including the global projects that a lot of clubs are working on and participating these days. That gets matched by funds from the World Fund. So we can use both the district designated funds that come under district control and the World Fund that is used to match it, okay? Being a star club determines how much money you can get from the district for a district grant. We look at the last 2 Rotary years and giving to the annual fund share and on a per capita basis from your club. If you've been a star club on average for 2 years, you can get up to $3,000 for a project that your club is putting $2,000 in. If you're, that's been the way based on an average, where the district is talking about taking that to a different simplified way. Say you have to be a star club in reality for those 2 consecutive years, for the last 2 years. So give $100 per member this year and $100 per member next year. In the future, you will be a 2-year star club and be eligible for that $3,000 match. Right now, and for this year, if your average per capita giving is between $75 and $100, you get a dollar-to-dollar match. It's very possible, in part because of our need to increase giving and encourage people to give more money, that may go to just being a 1-year star club. If you're a star club this year and it's for the first time, then you'll be able to get that dollar for dollar match. Below that, your club can still get some money, but it won't be quite as generous. You can get 75 cents on the dollar, up to a total of $1,500 for it per project, if you're able to do the projects. Yeah, every year, the district can put half of the new DDF that it receives into district grants. Yeah, if that money is not used, it goes over to the Global Grant Fund. The Global Grant Fund can accumulate. And because our district between about 2012 and 2016 didn't do many global grants at all, we accumulated a fair amount of money available for global grants. That's now we need to spend because the foundation has said, hey, if you don't put it to work, we're going to take it away from you eventually. So we're looking for ways to spend it on global grants. But either one, for district grants or for global grants, you have to qualify basically by showing you understand the basic ways that they work and your club can handle funds responsibly. Those are the key variants involved in that. And that includes any kind of the grant programs. If say your town has a really outstanding young person that's graduated from college, is interested in a year of study overseas, as was true for the Princeton Club a year ago, they were able to nominate that young person to get a global grant scholarship from the district, and they won that scholarship. But if the club hadn't been qualified, they could not make the nomination. Okay, you do have to be qualified to participate in any of the Rotary Foundation programs. And this is a rule that comes down from the foundation. It's not one set up by our district. But this is a reason here, and these numbers are pretty important to take a good look at, as why things are going to have to tighten up a little bit. Last year and this year, the districts were permitted to take an additional 10% of the DDF, new DDF each year, and add it to the district grant funding. So basically you got 60% of our new DDF instead of 50. That's last year we had $128,000. This year our total grants total up to $135,000, and we got a little bit more from the district's 671 fund. But next year, 2021, 2022, there's only going to be $109,000 amount. If everybody that's eligible puts in requests for 2 district grants, odds are pretty good we're not going to be able to fund all of them. So we've had to come up with a plan for making sure any rationing of funds is done in a highly fair manner, so that we can make sure we're putting the money to good use. And Ralph will talk about that a little bit later. Everybody clear on what's happening there? We're just not going to have as much money this coming year for district grants as we have had the past couple of years, when more clubs have discovered the benefit and the advantage of applying for district grants. Qualification for any of those Rotary Foundation grant programs: basically have responsible funds management in your club. Does your secretary control all the money, or your treasurer, and not tell anybody else what's going on? That might not be the best way to run a club. Make sure it's communicated back to the board and to the membership so you can keep track of things and make sure it is. But then have at least one member complete the District 6710 Grant Management Seminar. It's specific, done for our district. Ralph and I put our heads together and came up with it and set it up. But it's on the Learning Center, which is a relatively new element of the Rotary.org website. If your club was not qualified for grants last year, you'll need to have 2 members complete the Foundation Grant Management Seminar. Otherwise, if you were qualified last year, only 1 is required. Okay, but you have to do it before the end of this Rotary year. So you've got almost 2 months to get it done. In addition, there's a memorandum of understanding that the club must sign and send in to me as the foundation committee chair, also before June 30th. I've got about 5 of them in so far. I'm expecting to get a few more. Of course, if only 5 clubs end up qualifying, then we might have enough money to go around. But I'm sure everybody else is going to pay attention to that, and make sure it gets in. And then in the memorandum of understanding, you're basically saying you're going to be using the funds appropriately and keep good track of them. As long as you do that, then that's going to keep your club qualified. Okay. So, any question on those 4 real requirements for qualifying for foundation grants? The 2 that have a deadline on them, June 30th, are completing the grant management seminar and sending in the MOU signed by your incoming president and your incoming president-elect, if you have one. Many clubs don't have an incoming president-elect. And if so, talk to me. Your secretary, your treasurer can make sure that I'll take their signatures, but do talk to me about it if that's the situation in your club. How do you find the grant management seminar? Well, first you log into my.rotary.org. If you haven't set up an account again, using the email address that you use for all your Rotary activities that you receive mail from Rotary from, using that to set up an account and sign in to myrotary.org. This is not DACDB. DACDB is not where you find this seminar. It's on rotary.org website. When you get logged in, and it takes a little while, it's a very complicated website, and you'll see the circle of death for a while, and you'll see a variety of blank forms, but eventually My Rotary will come up. When that happens, then it's going to be ready to receive new input from you. So you want to hover over the Learning and Reference menu up near the top, and that'll open a list of things on the left-hand side, and the Learning Center will be one of those. Learning Center is what you want to look for. Learning Center will have its own sign-in process. You don't have to put your password in again, but you'll see these circles dashing in and out between each other and orbiting as it gets everything set up. And then it'll sign you in and take you to a screen where you can see a variety of different types of program areas set up that you can choose from. And many of them are really good learning opportunities for your own leadership skills, for club management, for doing a variety of things. It's well worthwhile. But what you want to look for is to do a search up at the top for the District 6710 Grants Management Seminar. And when you click that blue search button, it will take you directly to this seminar. That is what is needed for your club to be able to qualify. Okay. The course is set up, trying to make it pretty simple and easy. Should take about an hour to complete, maybe a little more. The modules contain a video, a copy of the PowerPoint slides that you can download if you ever want to go over them again at home, and a set of documents to be downloaded that give you a lot more information about the different types of grants and the requirements of some of those grants, especially the global grants. One of the documents to be downloaded is that MOU, the required memorandum of understanding. It's there, ready to be downloaded. I've had several people tell me they finished the course, but they didn't get the certificate of completion showing they've completed the course. And I could look in and say, well, their showing is still in progress on the course. And the reason usually has been that they didn't download all the documents. You got to download the documents. You don't have to keep them. If you choose not to read them or look at them, that's fine. I don't care. But you do have to download them, okay? Yes, because that's the way the Rotary Foundation Learning Center works. And then you've got a graded quiz just to make sure you were paying some attention during the video and can figure out the answers to the questions. You can take it as many times as you need to. Each time you do take it, you get some clues toward the correct answers, why maybe the answers you put in were not correct. That's fine. But it is an opportunity to really check on your progress you've made and your understanding of the content of the video. It's not intended to be complicated. It's not a PhD examination, but it is intended to be helpful. 4 different modules, as I said. One is an overview of the foundation grant programs, and again, how to give, because that's what makes it all possible. Module 2 on global grants, module 3, district grants, and then module 4 specifically on how to do your district grant, because all of those are done on DAC-DB. And that's been the way it's been for the past, past 2 years, I know. And because of the number of grants we do, the earlier method of trying to do it on paper just can't be done today. So DAC-DB is the method. If you're not logged into DAC-DB, if you haven't set up your account, Lee Perry can help you do that. And yeah, she's our district executive administrator. And yeah, Nancy Stearman or Gail Story can tell you exactly how to find her and what her address is. And she'll be glad to help you get onto DAC-DB. But that's where it's done. We don't look at any requests for district grants outside of DAC-DB. On global grants, and module 2 goes into a lot more detail. The downloaded documents go into even more detail on what is required to do a global grant. And the Rotary Foundation has been saying they're getting a little bit more strict on what they're looking for in the past years, in part because requests for global grants have been outgrowing the amount of money available to help them in the World Fund. It's that money in the World Fund has not been growing quite as much as Rotarians' efforts to do good in the world. And for sure, it's a lot easier to spend money than it is to collect money and give it in. But the two are linked, and they're going to be that way. Just for the basics on global grants, the things you really need to think about before you get started looking more deeply into them. You got to always have at least 2 Rotary clubs in 2 different countries involved in it. I'm currently working a global grant with a club in El Salvador. And so far we have 4 clubs in our district and about 6 clubs in a Canadian district that are all involved in helping putting money in. There's no upper limit on the number of clubs you can have, but the minimum is 2 in 2 different countries. The funds, it's got to be a fairly good size project, at least $30,000. Rotary, again, in the grant management seminar, we have documents on the 7 areas of focus that Rotary says all grant projects must relate to one of them. So you got to look at those and see what they are, whether it's water and sanitation, whether it's peace education and conflict prevention, or maternal and child health, or new, protecting the environment. It's got to be related to one of those. You have to show also that the community where the work's going to be done is really involved and wants this project. There've been an awful lot of opportunities, situations, both from Rotary clubs and from other charitable organizations that say, I know what this community needs. I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to put in a well and give them chlorinated water, or I'm going to do something else. And it turns out the community wasn't really that interested in it. That wasn't a high priority for them. So it ends up that money essentially gets wasted. And the Rotary Foundation says, we want no more of that. We got to show that there's a clear community assessment that they've been involved, and then they won't know what this is and they want it. And that the initiative hopefully comes from that community where it's going to be worked on. And then you have to think about sustainability. Is it going to keep working after the Rotarians have come in and done their good work and left? Is the project going to last for several times? Is there going to be money for maintenance? Are they going to be learning skills that they can then spread and share with other people? All of that is part of what you have to put together to apply for a global grant. It is a little complicated. There are a lot of things to think about. And the easiest way to get started to learn about global grants is to participate with on a grant that another district club is doing. And then you can really get your hands on, even go visit the country where the project's going to be done with people that have been there before, that know what they're doing, and that often have host Rotarians to help you out with it. It can be a lot of fun. It can be pretty easy. And I want to encourage you to think about it, because this is how Rotarians can really do a huge amount of good in the rest of the world. And global grants can be done in the United States as well. The key issue is finding an international club that's willing to help give some money to make it happen. That has been done in Kentucky already on a water project in an eastern Kentucky county that really needed it badly. In Clay County, I think it was. They got some funds coming out of Mexico to help out. So there are good ways to do that if that's what you want to do. Okay, I hope I've thrown a lot of information at you. I hope it didn't feel like drinking from a fire hose, because I was trying to simplify it a little bit. But there is an awful lot of things to think about and to wrap your arms around. Let's open the floor for anybody to unmute and raise using the reactions button, raise your hand. What questions do you have? What are the things you still need to know about the foundation, the annual fund, global grants? But hold your fire on the district grants, because Ralph is going to take care of all those questions. Yes. Anyone?
I have a question on the global grants.
Okay.
So you said there has to be 30,000 committed. What does that equate to, the amount of grant money that's available? Does it match 1-for-1 or?
Yeah, that's the total amount of the grant. The total amount of money, whether it comes from monies submitted by the clubs, from DDF money from the districts, or from the World Fund. Now, it used to be that they said it had to be 15,000 minimum from the World Fund. They've reduced that now. So it doesn't have to be any particular minimum from the World Fund. But you can get money in from the clubs or from the district in DDF. Now, our district, because of our situation of having accumulated some extra DDF in past years, we have a habit of matching whatever the club puts in. So if your club wants to put in, can put in or can collect from your members, say $8,000, our district will match that with $8,000 in district designated funds, monies that had been given to the annual fund. Right now, this year until June 30th, Rotary Foundation will match whatever the district puts in DDF. So they would put in another $8,000. So right there, you've got a $24,000 project using $8,000 club funds, $8,000 district DDF, and $8,000 from the World Fund. Because they're really getting short of World Fund money, as of July 1, when you submit a new Rotary Global Grant application, the World Fund will match DDF 80%, 80 cents on the dollar. They won't have the ability to do the whole thing. And they could easily, they keep warning us that they may well run out of available World Fund money before the end of this Rotary year. But they're going to be trying to keep it at 100% dollar for dollar match of DDF. It used to be that they would match club money 50 cents on the dollar. They stopped that over a year ago. Okay. Again, one of the key takeaways is if you want to do global grants, if you want to do district grants, we have to raise money for the foundation. We have to convince our members to give to the annual fund share. Does that answer your question, Robin?
Well, yes, I'm just like in my mind putting that process together. So you go to your club first and see what funds can be committed. You have to have it in hand or just?
Oh, no. Yeah,
Okay.
just get your members to pledge to put it together.
And then you might ask, then the next step would be ask your district to come alongside. You would do all of this before you apply for your global grant. Is that correct?
You can start a global grant application even without that.
Okay.
You can begin, and that application is done on the Rotary.org website
Okay.
under the Rotary Foundation menu that would be up there beside the learning and reference menu that I talked about earlier. And I'll be happy to work with you on getting that going. You don't have to have anything in concrete before you start that.
Okay.
Okay. But then, yes, you do want to get your club members involved. You do want to talk to your district leaders, the governor, the district governor-elect, me as the foundation chair. Give us a little heads up, a warning that this is what you're going to be doing. But it can be pretty dramatic. I told you that I'm working on a project in El Salvador. And the Louisville Club pledged $10,000 to put into it. It's going to be matched by the district. But we also had some communication with another one of our clubs out in a smaller town. And one of their members really got excited about it. Said, I want to do a water project. And he said, I'm going to put in $2,000 and I'm going to challenge my club to come up with some more, to beat me and to match me. And so as a total, his club is now putting in $10,775. Beating out Louisville. How about that? Okay, and the district will match that, and we hope to get it submitted and in to get the dollar for dollar match on the DDF from the World Fund. But that means our district is going to be putting in over $20,000 on the project.
Wow.
Hey, Rick,
Yes, sir. Yes, Joe.
how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. If a club has not decided yet, they would know they want to do a global grant, but they're not absolutely sure where. Let's just say we zeroed in on Central America.
Right.
We don't know what country it's going to be. What's the best way to go about making contact with individuals in a country where you're looking for a partner on the grants?
Go to a project fair. The project fairs are put together in Central America. It's done by the two different districts there. Every year at the end of January, which is not a bad time to be out of Kentucky since it's a little cold and wet and nasty around here. And it's warm and dry and sunny in Central America. It's beautiful. And you'll meet clubs from all of the different countries, and they'll present to you their projects and say, here, this is what we're trying to do. And you can ask them any question you want to. And you can talk to them and get some ideas. But you'll also meet other North Americans, Canadians, and folks from all over the US who've come down, who've been working with clubs there, who have some experience working with the clubs there, who know whether those clubs are qualified for grants, and they have to be qualified too, who know the history and what's going on as well. Our clubs in our district have had good experience. The second way you can do it is talking again to people that have had some experience down there who know some contacts, and ask them to do a Zoom session to your club.
Oh, good idea.
Several clubs have had now presentations from El Salvador, from Nicaragua. We can arrange it from Colombia and other places down there. If you'd like to look at it and just get some ideas. Our district international service committee just yesterday had a presentation by some Rotarians from California who are working in Guatemala on a rural development, farming development program to help the folks there deal with climate change, because they're in an area of Guatemala that is very seriously affected with much drier than it used to be, so that they have to think about different crops. They have to think about different kinds of coffee to grow. This is available to you. They would love to talk to your club.
Thank you.
They would love to talk to any of your clubs.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, I would add that if you want to dip your toe into the international projects and grants waters, we are trying to line up partners who would commit to a district grant next year to do a sanitation project in Nicaragua. And we have a canned PowerPoint presentation that if you contact me, I can do it via Zoom to any club in the district or around the US and give them a short 20-minute presentation on what the project entails and how you can contribute and participate and help.
Oh, that's fantastic. You listening, AW?
I'm listening. I was on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Of course, I'm glad to see you there, Joe.
That's great, Ralph. We might be interested in that at Louisville Suburban. I'll
Yes.
get back to you, or AW will.
Okay.
And don't hesitate to contact the district's International Service Committee, which is led by Bill Miller in the Frankfurt Club and Muriel Harris in the Prospect Ocean Club.
Okay.
They want to reach and contact all the other clubs and help people get an idea of what can be done. And they're basically every month having a presentation from an international club that has needs and has ideas and has projects to work on. So there are definitely a lot of options for getting your information, but these are the people to talk to: Bill Miller, Frankfurt Club, Muriel Harris, Prospect Ocean. I'll be glad to help. Ralph can help. Bob Swope in Elizabethtown has been working in Guatemala with district grants for some time.
Yep.
There are a lot of different ways to get the information.
Okay, thank you, guys. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll just add too, Rick, that the last project fair that I attended was a virtual fair.
Mhm.
So I never had to leave home or take off, change out of my pajamas, and I attended and, contacted tons of clubs across Central America doing projects.
Yeah. And the Columbia Project Fair follows the first week of February, and it's right next to Central America. Other countries have other project fairs, and if you look up project fairs on the Rotary website, and you want to do one in Africa or Bolivia or Brazil or somewhere else, that's always possible. But yeah, we all had to do the virtual project fairs, just like we're doing the virtual international convention this year. And also you can meet a lot of people at the international convention, and it won't cost you much. You don't have to schlep your family out to Hawaii or to Taiwan this year. You just have to sign up and spend a little time talking to people. Okay. Any other questions? Deanna Miller has her hand raised, but she's on mute.
Rick,
see.
this is Rick Starks. I have a question.
Okay, Rick.
Sorry, I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Okay. And we'll let Rick Starks take the floor then.
The question is, does your club receiving a global grant have any kind of impact or minimization on your opportunity in getting district grants? And you may have answered that.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Okay.
Independent.
Totally separate.
Okay. Thank you.
speaking of district grants, maybe it's time to let Ralph Young take the floor and share his screen.
Okay,
Talk a little bit about the district grants.
thanks, Rick. If you recall from Rick's presentation, the district grant pool of money this year was $135,000. And that funded 57 district grant applications in our district. And the actual number of applications that were filed were 61. So 4 of those district grant applications had to be funded out of the 671 foundation. Now, if you recall Rick's slide, the projected pool of money for next year coming up is about $109,000. And so it's quite a bit less than last year, and we could only fund 57 grants last year. So, you know, it will be somewhat less than 57 grants. But last year we were able to fund everyone's first priority project and all of their second priority projects with that help from the 671 Foundation. But we were not able to fund any third priority projects. So I think I can project that we're not going to fund any third priority projects next year, but we're going to be limited on the second priority projects that can be funded. And so as we try to discern which is the best project or which projects will be left, you know, out of the pool, we've come up with this district grant application evaluation scorecard. I've got it shown on the screen here, and I have a copy of this document on DACDB in the file section, and you can also get a copy from me if you'll just email me, and I'll share that. But anyway, this is a scorecard that we're going to use for all the, we're going to fund all the first priority projects, I would expect. But then when we get to the second priority projects, we're going to have to go down and score these on 4 individual criteria. 1, Rotary involvement. 2, per capita support of the Rotary Foundation. 3 is public relations. And the last is the project new to your club, or is it something you've been doing year after year after year? Now, if you look at this scorecard, the maximum score that a project could get is 31 points. And the minimum score it could get if it got a 1 on every category would be 4 points. So that's the range we're looking at. And if you look at the most impactful criteria on a project, it's right here on the per capita support. And you get 10 points if you are a star club. So this scoring is weighted heavily towards star clubs. So if you're a star club, you got 10 out of 31 already. And you know, you're going to be in pretty good shape for matching up with other clubs that maybe are not star clubs. So again, I just want to let everybody know that it's that way, and it will be members of the grant committee that will be scoring these projects whenever they come up in the August, September timeframe. Rotarian involvement here, it goes from, you know, only 1 or 2 members involved to having like half of your club involved. And so again, you would make an estimate on your application of Rotary involvement. Is it something that 1 or 2 Rotarians in your club just do and no one else participates? Or is it something that, you know, half of your club participates and they have a little outing or something like that? All those things matter in this scoring system. The third criteria here is the public relations plan. You know, if you do no PR or, you know, put something on social media or something like that, you're going to score a 1 to a 3. But, you know, if you got a big PR campaign, you got a PR person in your club that's going to like pull out all the stops, then, you know, you can claim 7 points or get scored 7 points on one of these second priority projects. And then the last criteria is how new is your project? Is this something that your club has done year after year? Then, okay, doesn't turn too many people on, you get 1 point. But if this is a significant project where you've been researching stuff and it's all new things, you know, then we'll tend to score it as 7 points. So this is the process that we're going to use to evaluate second priority projects after the application's been submitted and approved. And so this will be happening in the late August, September timeframe. And then clubs are usually informed in October that, you know, your district grant has been approved, and you can move forward with the project then in October, November timeframe, and then finish it up at the end of May. So any questions on this scoring sheet? Okay. Then I'm going to share another document that I have here. Not that one. Oh, I'm sorry. Now, the district grants for this year, final reports are coming due the end of May. And it's always crunch time at the end of May. And so what I've developed here is a little checklist to help make sure those writing the final reports have checked all the boxes. And this is kind of a compilation of things that we're always looking for in final reports. The most important aspect of a final report is that the budget is in balance. If your budget is not in balance, that's a showstopper, that's a no-go from the beginning. And so make sure that your income equal expenses. And that these expenses are actually reflected in the receipts and other things that you've uploaded to that project. When you first make application for a project, you may not know exactly how much you're going to spend. So during the course of a project in a year, you can go into DAC-DB and adjust your budget anytime. And that's contributions and expenses. Number 2 here is we got to have a great paper trail on financial reporting. And this is not accounting level paper trail. This is kind of like, you know, I'm an engineer. So I understand receipts and invoices and canceled checks and all that kind of stuff. We don't need to do any digging, but we need to have those receipts and other things properly authorized to make sure that the money is being spent the way it was intended. On scholarships, we insist that you have a scholarship check made out to 2 recipients, or I mean 2 payees, maybe the student and the school or something like that. Do not submit a check that is just made out to a student, so that, you know, there might be questions on whether they use that money for the scholarship or something else. On the publicity section, again, if you have pictures or newspaper articles or screenshots of social media, that kind of stuff, kind of put those, you know, take those screenshots and maybe put them in a Word document or scan it in as a PDF and then upload that. I don't want to see everybody's 50 pictures from their phone, because they're all like these little thumbnail things that are really tough to read and don't add anything to the project. What we're really looking for here is some kind of outstanding picture that will be worthy of a newsletter article, or maybe Rotary International, the magazine article, or something like that. But you need to have pictures, and they need to be, let's say, good looking pictures with Rotarians in them doing something, not just, you know, face shots or selfies or something like that. So please be creative when you're doing publicity.
And put a caption on the pictures if you can.
Yeah, that's for sure. That way we know, you know, who's doing it, what club, and that kind of stuff.
Who are these people?
Yeah. On the final report here, you know, we like statistics on there because they get rolled up into some big database in Evanston, Illinois. So, but don't be too particular. If you think it was like 12 or 13 Rotarians that participated, you know, give it your best shot. And then people served, that kind of thing, just give it your best shot, but don't like overestimate and, you know, blow the numbers out of the water. The final reports have to be approved by 2 club members. Usually these are the grant trained people. And then those final reports, once they're approved, they have to be submitted. And so that's like another step in DAC-DB. Sometimes DAC-DB can be a little clunky, but believe me, it saves a lot of time and a lot of work on the other end as we're evaluating all these. Again, the deadline for final reports is the end of May, but we may extend it if you have extenuating circumstances or something like that. Just contact me or one of these other grant mentors. So I'm Ralph Young here in Paducah. Cindy Hack, I think she's I'm not sure where she is.
Prospect Goshen.
Prospect
South Oldham.
Goshen.
South
South
Oldham,
Oldham.
sorry.
South Oldham, and Jen Winiger, I'm not sure where she is.
Lawrenceburg.
Okay. And if you're a grant junkie like me and you want to get on this grant mentor list, let me know because we have some openings. Okay, so these are the 2 documents I wanted to share today. And again, they're on DAC-DB in the file section under the grants folder. If you don't want to navigate DAC-DB, send me an email and I'll get those to you right away and you can use them. Any questions on anything?
And Ralph, full instructions on how to do a grant application on DAC-DB. Where can they find that?
Oh, gosh. I think I have a procedure that's on the files thing too, but
How about the grant management seminar?
oh, yes. Let me give you a little spoiler alert on this grant seminar. I thought, okay, I know all about grants. I can do this while I multitask at my desk. That was a bad move. I flunked the first test trying to multitask and did not download all the documents. So, you know, I had to go back to square one and I said, okay, this is the real deal. These tests are, you know, they're not tough, but they demand your full attention. So give it your full attention and it'll be time well spent.
Ralph,
Yes.
Dick Wheaton.
Hey, Dick.
We have had the scholarship program for quite some time. This is the first time we had it under district grants. Our checks are made to the students, but they have to show that they have completed the year and kept the grade point average. The checks have been made directly to the student. Is that going to disqualify us if we don't have 2 checks made out to 2 recipients?
I don't think so, Dick. I think we talked about that last year. And if, you know, you put a little alert in there that you do have some controls on that check, I think that will be fine.
We do have strong controls. Thank you. That answered my question. Thank you.
Yep, great.
And other clubs might be interested in those controls. If you wanted to tell the rest of the folks about it, say in a future session or in a newsletter article.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, the one tip I have on scholarship grant applications is don't make the first word in your title scholarships. Because this sorts by the title of the grant. So all of a sudden you'll see out of 60 grants, there'll be about 30 of them saying scholarships, and then you got to sort through that. So I suggest that you put your club name first and say Paducah scholarship, blah, blah, blah. Thank you.
But you've given strong indication that scholarships may not be the top of the list this year.
If it's a second priority project, Dick, I would say that, you know, it's going to be on the bubble.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Did we answer the things you were concerned about? Do you know how to get in touch with Ralph and me if we didn't? You can find us in DACDB.
I'll put my
Maybe.
email.
I'll put my email in the chat too, but as an
Both
incentive.
of you are in my cell phone.
Yeah, I got Dick on speed dial, so we're okay.
But it's certainly, I want to encourage you to get comfortable with DACDB because it's really useful in an awful lot of ways. Whether it's signing up for a club or district activity, or just knowing what all is going on in other clubs around the district, finding people, finding their names and addresses. There's a lot of stuff there that's really useful. Anything else for anybody? We've got 3 more minutes left if you've got a question. Or a complaint.
Nothing on DACDB, right?
Well, you know,
Oh, and just to throw
Thank you
this
all.
in there, there are additional sessions coming up and DACDB happens to be one of them. So if you need that, you probably want to sign up for it because maybe we'll have Ralph come during that one and step you through the grants part of DACDB because the rest of it really is quite simple and we can get through it pretty quick. Grants, it's a little different. So we'll invite Ralph to come for that. I just want to take a moment to thank you two for putting this on for all of us and for giving and sharing the information and being available. They both are great servants of the district and our communities and our world. And I celebrate you and thank you for what you've done here this evening and what you do all the time. Thank you very much.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
thank everybody for coming out and attending and sitting through it all here. You're still at 29 people logged in, so it couldn't have been too bad. Okay,
That mean you're getting better, Rick?
that must be.
It just means they started dropping off there towards the end when they knew we were wrapping up. They hung out for a long time.
Okay, super. Thanks, everybody,
Good
and
deal. Thank you.
we look
Thank
forward
you.
to seeing some good grant applications.